This is my life, it's not what it was before. All these feelings I've shared, and these are my dreams that I've never lived before. Somebody shake me, 'cause I must be sleeping. Now that we're here, it's so far away. All the struggle we thought was in vain. All the mistakes one life contained. They all finally start to go away. And now that we're here, it's so far away. And I feel like I can face the day. I can forgive, and I'm not ashamed to be the person that I am today. These are my words that I've never said before. I think I'm doing okay. And this is the smile that I've never shown before. Those are some of the lyrics from the song that you just heard. The song is called Far Away by a band called Stained. I make jokes all the time that Aaron Lewis, the lead singer of Stained, must have been stalking me most of my life to come up with some of the songs that he's written. I plan to use it as the opening and closing theme music for my new show, Shawn Jackson's BS, The Week in Review. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Shawn Jackson, and this is my very first episode. Let me give you guys a brief explanation of who, what, and why. First, I am an ex-meth user of some 20 years of my 38 years alive. In 2 days, I will celebrate being clean for 6 months. I write a blog called shawnjacksonsbs, which can be found on tumblr.com. That's TUMBLR.com. I write the blog first to help myself stay focused on the task at hand, which is being happy without the use of drugs. And second, to help spread a message of hope for any and all people who might need it. I've been talking about a project on the blog here recently, and I plan to read the entries that I received for that project here with you today. Now, starting with my next episode, which will be next week, I will be reading a week's worth of current entries, and until I get caught up, I will also start from the beginning and read a few of my old ones each week as well. Hence the name Shawn Jackson's BS, The Week in Review. As I continue on with this new medium, and more of my history and opinions will be revealed, I hope you guys enjoy it. And I am also forever grateful for this opportunity, and a big shout out thank you to Gary Thomas and John Henderson from the Half-Ass Podcast for giving me this opportunity. Okay, let's get started. Now, the project idea, when I first came up with it, was supposed to encompass my loved ones' opinions of who I used to be to who I am now. I originally thought I would get more of how I hurt and or let them down while I was using. I wanted the message to show that anyone could change over to this new, more beautiful side of life, regardless of the feelings of being undeserving or unworthy. Those who wrote in, and I assume along with God himself, must have felt differently. I got teary-eyed after reading each of these, and I am very okay with the fact that it didn't go exactly as I had planned it. So now I'm going to read the project, which was 4 entries. The project. I don't know you from your addiction too much, except you wouldn't talk to me when you relapsed. I hope you know I wouldn't have judged you. I love you. Seems like I've known and loved you all my life, near or far. I remember being a young girl, living down the dirt road from you with stars in my eyes for the long-haired boy up the dirt road, and that laid under the stars with me on the tin roof, that snuck in my bedroom window to hold me, that was always sweet and kind and never inappropriate. Skip a few years, the same boy walking to see me, telling my boyfriend he'd better be nice to me or he'd answer to him. Skip a few years, the same boy came to see me, told me that I'm no good for you. I couldn't imagine at the time what it could have been. Skip a few years, same boy shows up, and then I know what he was talking about. He looks at me when we're alone and asks me what the fuck I'm doing involved with this shit. About 8 years and 2 to 3 prison stays, him and me, later, he shows back up clean, encouraging, saves my life, helps me every day while I struggle without knowing. I've never seen or heard you so honest and raw. It looks good on you, Shawn. That's the story of Shawn and Brandy. It's not the most exciting or romantic, and we never got together or gave it a shot, but your existence in my life is valuable, and I cherish it and you. Your girl is very lucky, and I hope she realizes it. You will always be the long-haired boy down the street I waited for to climb through my window. Love you. So proud of you. Brandy. My opinion of Sean. Well, he says we don't know one another. That may be true. However, I think we've met. It would have been when we were kids, though. See, his cousin is my best friend. Here recently we became friends on Facebook. Then I became a follower of his blog. While reading his blog and his posts on Facebook, I thought, this is a guy I want to know. He's incredibly funny and honest and really down to earth in the blog entries. They touched my heart and get me thinking. So one day we talked on Facebook. Not sure, but I think I reached out to him. To be honest, I don't remember what, why, or what was said, but I thought we hit it off good. Since then, my life has turned upside down, leaving a 21-year not-so-healthy relationship. He lets me unload on him. He gives me great advice in what I call my Sean therapy. I can be feeling so bad, he always cheers me up and gets me smiling. He encourages me to be positive, makes me feel worthy and special and like I matter. I can talk about anything, family, kids, and those he so misses back home. We talk about addiction, his, and my codependency behavior with what is now my ex. When reading his blog, it's an eye-opening and heartwarming and a little crazy at times, and that's why I love it. I read and look forward to every one. I truly believe God sent him to me, because he is awesome great. I look forward to every time we chat. I know he even reads people, or maybe just me, bedtime stories when I can't sleep, like Shakespeare. Let me tell you, that was the sweetest thing anyone has ever done for me. By the time he was done, I was in tears. Oops, you didn't know that. He has gotten me to start a journal to help me heal and get out of my feelings. I usually tell God to bless him every night and thanks him for being my friend. I have very few I feel safe enough to talk to. Sean makes me feel safe. Can't wait to meet him face to face, give him a hug and say thanks. Introduce my kids to the faraway friend who's been helping me get stronger. That about sums it up for now. Love, Dorian. Sean, my son, was a very bright child, ahead of his years in intelligence since he was born. He started walking at only 8 months, and it just accelerated from there. I seen great things coming from this boy, so you can imagine my disappointment when he got so lost in life. I've prayed all these years for him to finally wake up. I, as so many of his family, have lost so much bonding and family time, things that we'll never get back. But through all these years, I have never given up on him. As bad as it has gotten, I kept that bit of hope in my heart. I have really missed my son, the quirky sense of humor and loving heart that he has hidden inside for so long. There have been many times through the years that these things have happened because of his lifestyle. Heartbreaking things, things that could have been fatal, things that really made me realize the extreme of where his life was leading him, and in turn where it was leading me. I recall a time that I was talking to him about a near-fatal car accident that he was in, and when I mentioned it to him, he did not remember it at all. It took more and more details for it to even vaguely come back to his memory at all, and then it was sketchy at best. Myself, I've never been into any kind of drugs or been around it much, so I'm still pretty naive about most of it, but this incident puts its effects in more of a perspective to me. This was no joke. Like any mother, I tried to talk to him. I tried to plead with him. But all this to no avail. This incident happened several years ago, so I've kept this in mind all this time, hoping and praying to God to please watch over him, and please don't take my son from me. Not like this. I'm probably the main one person who will never deny him, never give up hope for him, and have the most faith in him in what he is doing today. I have always seen great things for all of my children, and I still see great things in Shawn, even today. He may not get rich or famous, but seeing him help so many others by helping himself, I see him saving many people from going through what he and his loved ones have gone through, him being a knowledgeable and added strength to those in need. If he can not only save himself, but save the life of just one other human being, that is accomplishment enough. That will be the greatness he was meant to achieve in his life. Whether he ever sees or knows of the life he saved is irrelevant. Just knowing in his heart and mind that by saving himself, it's guaranteed he has saved at least one other soul. Stand strong and have faith one day at a time. Betsy Jackson. Betsy Jackson is my mother. As well as I can remember, as a child, Shawn was a typical little boy. He had a bit of a rough childhood from the time his parents split up. He lived away from Missouri for a time when he and his siblings moved to Colorado with their dad, so we were separated from them for a while. When they came back to Missouri and lived with their mom, there was a time that the man she was living with was very abusive to her and the kids. I didn't know this till after the fact because he kept her pretty much out of reach. The kids didn't talk about it, but it definitely had a major effect on them as well. Shawn, being the oldest, I'm sure was left with the feeling of inadequacy as their protection. She finally got away from that situation, but the damage had been done. I don't remember Shawn being a bad kid. He was always polite and caring for his family members. Our family was pretty close and still is. I almost feel like I was oblivious to his use of drugs for a long time. What am I saying? I was. I knew the weed was easily accessible for him, and I was very watchful when my son spent too much time with him at that point. I was disappointed in Shawn because I knew that as close as him and my son were, that my son could be too tempted. And it made me mad that Shawn put himself and my son in that position. And I was also mad at the ones I knew that allowed it to be so easily accessible to Shawn. Even though my son was old enough to know better, as was Shawn, I still responded as a mother, and Shawn was the enemy. The drugs controlled him. I don't remember literally seeing how the drugs ruled and controlled Shawn physically. I was pretty naive when it came to that stuff, but extremely protective of reaching into my immediate family. Shawn kept that part of his life on the outside, away from most of us. What I did see was the non-existence to the family and family functions in which he was always a part of until then. Family gatherings was a great joy and so much fun to catch up with. Fewer and fewer did he attend, and if and when he did, he wasn't the same, even though he tried to act like it. His new lifestyle had grabbed so tightly to him that he seemed to forget his family. Now that he is clean and accepting life as it is, the good with the bad, my heart can see the young boy. Well, he's still a young boy to me. I can see the love of life and his family once again. Welcome home, Shawn. Your family is proud of you, and we won't let go. God will take care of the things that still lay heavy on your heart. Don't ever give up. Don't ever go back to that dark, dark place. Let the sun shine on your face. Love you, sweetie. Aunt Twyla. Those are the entries that I received from the project. All very heartfelt. Maybe God thought that I needed to hear that more than how I'd originally planned on it. It just goes to show that, all of us, when I say us, I mean all of us recovering drug addicts and alcoholics, for the most part, we're not bad people. We're really good people who make bad decisions, really bad decisions, even if they're well-intended. I was lost and I was trapped in that cycle for a long time. As I mentioned before, I'm coming up on my 6-month being clean birthday. I guess that's all I have for now. I really hope that you guys enjoyed listening, and I really hope this podcast reaches a new, broader range of people and the people that follow my blog. Have a truly amazing week. Find the silver in everything that you do. Thanks.